Good evening, race fans, and welcome to the heart of the Midwest. The Great Plains States is where we do battle tonight in the beautiful state of Kansas. Happy holidays, good evening, and thank you for stopping in to Redline Racing Network as Gen 4's finest on the iRacing servers get ready to wage war here on this iconic 1.5-mile oval. As we get ready, strapped in to rock and roll here, Dynasty Racing League Winter Series kicks off another epic battle here this evening. Again, on this iconic racetrack, which should be a primetime thriller. In fact, this series has put on a heck of a series, a heck of a season thus far, I should say, averaging under 2 cautions per race. Great battles at the end and superb driving each and every time they take to the high banks this season. Field getting set to rock and roll here, so let's send it down trackside. Is Ken Robnett in that Tops Friendly Market Chevrolet is going to get the pole here this evening. A driver that has literally been on fire over the course of this season. No surprise, Donald Hickson Jr. in that Budweiser 8 machine. He's kind of been like the modern-day front row Joe. Did not get the pole tonight, however. He's going to share that front row with the 09 ride. As he actually set it back down to pit road, I guess there's something he didn't like with the race car. So let's readjust that. There we go. Without further ado, let's go through tonight's starting lineup. As I just said moments ago, Ken Robnett in that Tops Market Chevrolet going to have the pole. Outside of him in that Budweiser 8 machine out of Hamilton, Donald Hickson Jr. Look who's starting to return to form here. Taylor Butcher Benjamin was in the 8, now in the 88 out of Pennsylvania. He's going to roll off in that 3rd place position, while Kyle Gray is going to roll off here P4. Running out your top 5, the man, the myth, the legend, Gary Farnsworth Jr. in that 42 machine. Outside of him, DRL faithful and longtime competitor Brandon Groby in that Milwaukee Tools 45 ride. The faster pastor, a lot of fans supporting the cause, checking in. Stony Benfield Nation in the house. Your driver is going to roll off in that 7th place position. Out of Bad Luck Racing, the Moo Crew machine, James Pandolf, the head cook, chief, and bottle washer, is going to start here 8th. Well, Mad Max in that EA Sports throwback iconic paint scheme in that 96 machine, he's going to start just inside the top 10 in that 10th place position. A guy that had a phenomenal run last night on the next gen side of things at Friday Night Fuel. Going to see if he can bring the boogie here tonight as well, as he's going to roll up in that 10th place position. Well, Austin Collins, AC. Great to see him out here tonight in competition. Going to roll off in that 11th place place position. Well, Samuel Carter in that John Deere 97 machine, throwing it back to Chad Little. Going to roll off there in 13th. Kenny Thompson, the master of chaos, going to start here in 14th. Well, Dave Acacia, the Killer Bee, Matt Kenseth machine out of Jackson, New Jersey, is going to start in that 15th place position. And don't be messing with me. I'm getting a report here that Sizzle Time, Matty Sizzler, may be making a return here to DRL here this evening. He has not put that car on the racetrack yet. However, he is showing in the queue. What this is a stacked field here tonight, 16 strong potentially. We'll be ready to drop the green flag here and get to the business side of things as we lose that iRacing.com pace car. Now it's time to wet the clutch, kick the dust, hope that rear end doesn't bust. Green flag in the air, strap Grandma in because it's time to get it on board style here in Kansas. Robnet unleashes the fury here, drops the hammer, and already opens up a 4/10 of a second advantage over Donald Hickson Jr. on the high side of the racetrack. Great start here in the early going for the 9 ride. Big, strong, virtually all season long, but again, this really started to turn it up here in the later stages of this series. Over the course of the season, and another driver hits that pole as well. It's going to be Hickson Jr., who is hot on his heels in that second place position. The front four currently no changes per position, but Hickson may have other plans as he sends it downstairs, side by side, door to door. Got to be careful you don't throw the squeeze job coming on here. These drivers about a half a car length apart from one another. It's 2 by 2 Noah's Ark situation here. A 4-way battle here for the lead. How about that 78 making some noise here early? And look who just threaded the needle and shot the gap. A driver that is looking to rebound and return to his former glory here, who's been off just a little bit the past few weeks. He seems to have found his mojo. That is Taylor Benjamin. That is one driver you do not want to see on a hot streak. As he currently now slots into that 3rd place position. Rob, that would have hammered some positions here. But again, this just could be a calculated move by the 9-camp, understanding these races go really mean and green, and you've got to save those Dr. Fuel points. Kyle Gray now up 2 positions, but how about that 42 machine there? Gary Farnsworth Jr., he is on the move as well. 96 Mad Max in that EA Sports machine in the top shelf of the racetrack. This is the hardest. This is right around that 6th place position. Same there as well. Well, you Samuel Carter fans, he rocks that John Deere machine, that Ford on the high side. Yeah, these guys are so close quarters right now. You can pitch a tent, throw a blanket over. Taylor Butcher Benjamin, who is going for the lead here, as he has the dial set to kill here in the early going. DBB's had enough of not being in the top 3, or I should say checking off those boxes in victory lane, if you will. Going up against a car with his number from last year. Hickson Jr. about to get a bumper full of TBB. He's going to enter in the corner about a half lane up. Off the bottom here, going to try to utilize all that momentum as they drag race here down the American Ethanol backstretch. He's going to stay committed to that high line. Well, Hickson Jr. rips the bottom. Tried to slide up in front of the 88. Almost didn't have enough room there to clear. It's a great battle here in the early going between two drivers that have really duked it out on the racetrack over the course of this winter season. See the respect being given there between these two drivers, something that is one of the marquee notes, something you don't see in all the different series I've had the privilege to broadcast, just the amount of respect these drivers have for one another. You can see the give and take being shown here. Again, remember, you got to be in it to win it. Cannot win it in lap one. You got to survive and be alive. Taylor Butcher Benjamin trying to utilize all that horsepower and torque. Going to see if he can get the job done here. Check the box, but Donald Hickson Jr. isn't having any of it. And this side-by-side racing at the point is allowing Kyle Gray to close in on this battle here. These tires start to fall off just a little bit more. Tire wear will be a storyline here this evening. Already about 3/10 off of their fastest laps of the race. And as I was saying, that high line will come in as those tires start to wear just a little bit. The 88, Taylor Butcher Benjamin, checks the box. He now displays P1 on the scoring pylon as he's 2 positions to the good. Welcome back to the lead, Taylor Butcher Benjamin. Hickson doing everything he can not to let him get away here. He's going to keep him honest and almost mirror his tire tracks. In fact, let's send it down trackside. Let's jump on board with that Budweiser 8 Chevrolet. This race car here, you just cannot put your foot in. You got to be respectful. You got to have some finesse when you decide to give this car everything that it has. Right there on the high side, you can hear him kind of working the throttle a little bit, trying to get that back end in the racetrack. As he puts the hammer down, Hickson's going to have a heck of a run here. They are side by side, door to door. Hickson was not content in second. He wants the lead back. Trying to take the quicker way around the racetrack here, or I should say the shorter way, not always the quicker way. This last time by, those drivers ran identical lap times at a 31:63. Sold out crowd on their feet is the 8 and 88. Dial it up to 1,000 here in prime time. Taylor Butcher Benjamin wins that round as he noses that 88 ahead of the 8. But will it be deja vu all over again? The last time Benjamin took it to the point, the 8 charged right back, was able to retake the lead, working that low lane. Perhaps now he's going to decide here to fall in line and try to bleed some of these laps off the board. That great battle up front, I mean, that was exactly what Kyle Gray wanted to see here, an early Christmas gift, as he was able to shave a couple tenths off of that deficit he was in, and he is there now. Speaking of there was almost contact between Hickson and Taylor Butcher Benjamin again. The 8 has to take evasive action, takes it way up to the nosebleeds. And we're going to John 4 style it back down the backstretch into 3 and 4 again. You would think this was 3 to 4 laps remaining. No, we just took the green flag, and these guys are mixing it up. Making all kinds of hay here. Kyle Gray now going to challenge that second place position. All of that hard racing up front, they may have overheated that 88's right rear just a little bit. 78 able to slipstream and get on by. Now he's going to set his sights on Hickson Jr. Great battles going on all over the racetrack right now. You got the 42 of Farnsworth Jr., who's lost one spot here in the early going, just outside the top 5 and 6. Well, Samuel Carter has been the man with the plan on the move. 6 positions to the good here in the early going. These two drivers slugging out World War II's trench warfare style. Just in front of them, your Colson. Robnett has now fallen outside of the top 3. Slots into that 4th place position. Second fastest car on the racetrack at this point in time. Slowest car inside the top 5 right now. Taylor Butcher Benjamin. I think he just may have prematurely just used and abused those tires a little bit, specifically that right rear. That dogfight he had up front with Hickson. Let's jump on board with TBB, see if we can see what's going on with the handling of that race car. Seemed pretty good there on the floor as he drops the hammer. As this beautiful engine sings to a glorious 10,000 RPM. You won't quite see those RPMs here, but the song that this engine sings, especially when you have boom tubes on it, is unlike any other note. Racing across the world, in my opinion. Seems like it's driving pretty good, actually, for TBB right now. Perhaps he's just trying to go into tire conservation mode here. I thought maybe he slipped back a little bit because that right rear may have been a little heated. That doesn't seem to be the case, because that car seems pretty stable right now. In fact, he's going to get a nice run here down the backstretch. You can see that 78 is starting to get bigger out the front windshield. As we now widen things back out here once again. How about Austin Collins, AC? A driver I haven't seen out here in competition for some time. Remember him from the 2022 campaign. Oh, he almost got into it with the faster pastor, Stoney Benfield. This is for that 7th and 8th place position. Like I said, just a few short laps ago, great battles going all over the racetrack right now. So Austin Collins now going to take that 7th place position. Stoney Benfield, a.k.a. the faster pastor, holds on to 8th. And the Moo Crews Chevrolet from Bad Luck Racing, the head cook, chief, and bottle washer, James Pandal, just inside the top 10 and 9th. Samuel Carter rounding out your top 10. How about Marcus Chaffin in this race tonight, trying to carry the momentum over here to the Jet 4 side of things after a great run last night in Friday Night Fuel. And in fact, him and his teammates, I mean, they were serious contenders throughout the course of that race. Great long run speed as well. Great looking races scheme on that 18 machine. He's even with the board. Start P10. That's currently where he runs right now. Matt Sizzler did make it out on the racetrack. He may have pit started. A couple of reports that I'm getting here and looking at timing and scoring, that seems to be the case. So he is looking for a Christmas gift in the form of a caution flag to get himself back into this race. Not that it's impossible, but that certainly would help his efforts. Great to have Sizzle time back. Perhaps he can get himself a yellow flag, and that would put him right back up in the mix. The Sizzler, about 4.7 seconds back, that 15th place car being piloted by Ralph in that Napa 15. Send it back up to the point. Donald Hickson Jr. now back to the lead. Has about a 0.3 of a second advantage over Kyle Gray. Continues to have a strong run here in the early going. Your pole sitter Robnet has about put himself back inside the podium. That third place position, and he holds on to it. About 0.6 of a second off the lead. Now officially working lap 30 of the scheduled 134 here from the beautiful state of Kansas. We're going to step aside, do our first wide open coverage right here on Redline Racing Network. Feel free to crank it up. You're not going to miss anything. Race fans, welcome back to Kansas Speedway. Hope you enjoyed that Crank It Up segment brought to you by our member of our Strategic Family Alliance, the official custom design and premier sim wrap partner, Black Magic. Cannot thank them enough for everything that they do for us here on the network side of things. If you guys want 100% one-of-a-kind, authentic design, get out of the static. You'll see the movies at Black Magic. David Dunwoody and the guys can make your design come to life. Put some new vibe in your ride, and remember, it's too good for too good. I swear I never read this ad before in my life. It's good for two Teds out there on the racetrack. That is the one and only Black Magic. First wave of green flag pit stops underway. As pit road comes to life, that's going to cycle Farnsworth Jr. That Richard Petty-inspired 42 machine to the lead. He's going to have over a second to the good in that Pontiac over your pole sitter, Rob Nett, who finds himself continuing that heated battle with Kyle Gray in the 78 machine. As he works just about 2.5 to 3 car lengths behind the 9 ride. All of this is cycled TBB back and forth. While Austin Collins now becomes the biggest mover of the race. I was wondering when he was going to start to throw his hat in the ring here to become a factor. And don't look now, Stony Benfield Nation. The faster pastor is coming with him, as he is now in that 6th place position and looking for more. Flag pit stops have strung out this field just a little bit, as it often can do. That's one of the things I love about this series. If you want to win, if you want to be a winner in DRL, let alone a champion, you have to execute all 3 phases of this race, and that means 9 times out of 10 being absolutely perfect. It's time to come down pit road. Got to bring as much momentum you can into pit lane. Cannot get caught speeding. No penalties. The time deltas must be absolutely perfect. Otherwise, these other drivers will shoot you up and spin you out. Stony there. Last time buys it 112. His fastest lap of the race will be at 4:65. Matt Sizzler now to finally start climbing the ladder here. He has charged towards the front. Sizzle time now up 1 position. Holds onto that top 15. That's currently where he finds himself right now. I believe he's piloting that Kia again. Perhaps driving the Kia Stinger. Last year, him and I, we were the Hemi brothers before Cletus McFarland made it a thing. Sizzler is just a seasoned veteran, really good driver inside the cockpit of that race car. He is just too good to run in last place. He will find ways to make up ground and gain positions over the course of this 134-lap event tonight. Just in front of him, a driver that has virtually made every race this season. Newcomer to the league, and he has been a great addition. Mad Max in that EA Sports Throwback 96. That's the next car Matt Sizzler has on his radar. Jump about 3 seconds up the road from that battle starting to brew. To find the master of chaos and Kenny Thompson, who's even with the board. His fastest lap of the race clocks in at a 30.88. Last time by a 31.47. And again, to see there's a similar scenario here as we work our way towards the front again. 2.64 seconds in that Reese's machine. Marcus Chapman started 10th, currently runs 12th. Some very competitive lap times though. Last time by, 1:42. That's going to actually make him the third fastest car out there on the racetrack right now. The biggest problem is the objective he has to overcome is he has almost 12 seconds between himself and Rob at the lead. As we send it back up to the point, it is all tops friendly. Markets bringing the fresh goods out here on the racetrack. As he has set sail, lit the wick, and is trying to get away from the competition. As we approach lap 50 here on Redline Racing Network, and how about Farnsworth Jr.? This guy has silently crept his way all the way up to second place in that Pontiac. Having a very strong run here in that 42 machine. Second fastest car on the racetrack, right where you'd think or expect him to be, right there. However, it doesn't always work like that. I'll tell you what, Kyle Gray is really dialing up the excitometer inside the cockpit of that 42. Let's jump on board with the driver of the 78. Sending it down low here. Heat on the bottom. Those left side tires on that white line. Oh, that's an area of this racetrack that always makes my blood start to boil a little bit, is when they carry all that momentum from the bottom up to the top. From that angle, I couldn't tell if he was clear or not, but it certainly looked like they got a little up close and personal there. However, no contact made. A lot of blind spots in this Gen 4 car as well. That was the closest battle position out here on the racetrack. Kyle Gray now should start to check out from the 42 as he's about 2/10 faster over the past 5 laps or so. 50 laps now written into the history books here from Kansas. Race fans, we're going to step aside, pay some bills, but don't worry. We'll be back with all the high-flight, high-octane racing action here on Redline Racing Network momentarily. Stick around, don't go anywhere.
We're always here to help our squad when they need a little push in the right direction. That's just who we are. We're a beautifully diverse group of goofballs dedicated to driving fake race cars as fast as possible. And we continue to push each other to the front using the power of nonsense. We have one of the strongest NASCAR programs on the service, and you can access it all for $24.99 a month. And we just released individual subscriptions for $14.99 a month for each NASCAR vehicle. We also just added a Rallycross program, and our IndyCar program is taking off as well. So come join the weird side. We have speed and cookies. Cookies are not included in some locations.
Good evening, happy holidays, and welcome back to Redline Racing Network, ladies and gentlemen. So we're currently cruising it out here in primetime on this 1.5-mile oval is our latest stop on the Winter Series here. The Dynasty Racing League takes us to the land of Oz. As, hey, we're still in Kansas. I promise you that's the place. We're currently watching a thriller here once again this Saturday night. So we have it locked here on that 78 as he currently puts up a blistering pace out here on the racetrack. Good for that second place position. Welcome all of you back to Redline Racing Network. Matt Metler up in the Tony Trempasso Memorial broadcast booth as Kyle Gray gets up on the wheel. Grits his teeth, pulls those belts just a little bit tighter, and tries to reel in the Rocket Man tonight. That is the 09 of Robnet, your pole sitter, who lost a couple spots here over the first 20-25 laps or so, but after green flags pit stops, as it's been all lean, mean, and green since the initial green flag, he finds himself carrying the torch here with we'll say a 1 second advantage, 0.90 to be specific, but nearing 1 second over Kyle Gray, who is up 2 positions to the good. There he is. And if you're wondering just about what that looks like as far as real estate goes out there on the racetrack, if I set it up to the blimp cam, there's Robnet coming out of turn number 2, or out of 4. And then you can see Kyle Gray just going by the start-finish line there. And in fact, it looks like that margin is shrinking, and it is. Oh, my. Kyle Gray just won a 32-17 to Robnet's 32-3. So that is closing the gap, the distance, quick, fast, and in a hurry. As he has grabbed another gear in that 78 machine. As he's now trying to reel in the leader. Let's go ahead and run through the field. You know who the leader is, and we'll pick it right back up here with Kyle Gray, who's had a fantastic 63 laps of competition as he closes in. In fact, we might not be able to run through the field because this battle is a brewing here. Kyle has the dial set to terminate. As he is there and challenging. As he mirrors the tire tracks of the 9. He's going to send it now to the high side of the racetrack. Trying to use all that horsepower under the hood of this Gen 4 and keep the afterburners lit as it's a John 4 special down the backstretch. Who's going to send it in deeper? And look at the 9 Bon Jovi style, living on a prayer. Sends it in there like grandma's business after church on Sunday, door to door, side by side. Pick your poison, ladies and gentlemen. As I often say, the Gen 4 cars, catching them is one thing, passing them another. And that 78 was able just to flex. I mean, that car is driving so good right now. I mean, he is literally 0.2 of a lap faster than Ken Robnet. He really wasn't able to throw much of a defensive initiative out there. Just because the 78 is driving so good right now. So as I was saying moments ago, before we had this battle here at the point, through the field, here he comes, Austin Collins. Here is a man in the last full season of DRL competition each and every time. This lowest 48 machine decided to take to the racetrack. He was often a threat, always in contention, and put up for memorable performances in this last campaign. It's been a while since we've seen him here in competition, but Austin Collins makes an appearance here tonight as he started back in the woods the next county over, and in 67 laps, he has cracked the top 3, up 9 positions, and continues to be the fastest car now on the racetrack as he's going to pull it down pit road, jump on the binders, no mistakes here, clean entry. As we get ready to start our second wave of green flag pit stops. This should bring in Donald Hickson Jr., our outside pole sitter as well. There he is. James Pandolf in the 74 from Bad Luck Racing. Mad Max on pit road as well. Typically, once someone bites and comes down, that's going to be a come one, come all scenario. As you are really losing a lot of lap time out there should you stay out on those worn out Dr. Feelgood's transition to Feel Bads. Mad Max now down and away. Sizzle time, Matt Sizzler in the Kia. You heard that right, the Kia. The Kia Stinger on pit road. He's down and away, going to light him up on entry. Kenny Thompson also in. Similar story for Brandon Broby. Kyle Gray coming down now as well as this is going to cycle the lead back to the tops machine. As we now officially have 70 laps written in the history books here from Kansas Speedway tonight. Let's check in with the YouTube.com live chat. Barbara, always faithful in the house, representing, cheering on Stony Benfield. She says we need an early Christmas present. I agree with you, Barbara. I mean, how much would that mean to you and all the other Stony Benfield fans, a.k.a. the Faster Pastor, that always religiously show up here to cheer him on as your leader now comes down pit road? Matt Sizzler not only doing business out on the racetrack, in Matty Sizzler fashion, stopping at the YouTube.com live chat as well, confirming my suspicions. Had to take a pit start, updated late, and I didn't have time to get my settings in before gritting. So that confirms that he did pit start, as he is now going in the right direction out there on the racetrack, as he's about to crack the top 10 here as he finds himself in that 11th place position. Again, want to thank all the rest of you guys for joining us, supporting the cause right here on Redline Racing Network. If you could help us hit our first big milestone here on the channel as we approach 1,000 subscribers, if you could smash the like button, ring the bell, and that way you'll get notified each and every time the Dynasty Racing League takes it to the track here. You won't miss any of the action right here on Redline Racing Network. Nine Ride decides to bring it down pit road for service on his race car. New leader in town, the Richard Petty inspired Pontiac. Up 4 positions. Up 4 for the 42. So thank Gary Farnsworth for your pick 3 lottery numbers tonight. That's going to be 4, 4, and 2. Should you win, 20% gratuity goes to the driver. In case you're wondering at home, folks, that has worked before. I've had friends of mine, other followers on the channel, when I have said that in the past in a joking manner, of course, actually produced a winning ticket, and the driver did get a percentage of the winnings. True story. Like they say in New York, their lottery scheme is, hey, you never know. So Farnsworth now takes the reins and now leads over Kyle Gray, who has 3-lap pressure tires. Farnsworth Jr. down on lap 65. Kyle Gray lap 69. But the driver we're going to start needing to pay attention to here clearly does not have to bust any rust off, picking up right where he left off. You dial back, the time he gauged the flux capacitor about 1.5 years ago. I mean, this is an authentic Austin Collins run here. Starting deep in the woods, just putting on a clinic, driving through the field, executing flawlessly, and he finds himself in that 3rd place position, hidden on lap 67. Then Taylor Butcher Benjamin back 1 position from where he started, and then your outside pole sitter, Donald Hickson Jr. holds on to 5th, but Brandon Roby may have other plans as he is swarming. Mere inches behind that Budweiser number 8. Now he's going to turn it down to the bottom and try to send it in there on the Louisville slider, but the 8 slams the door. This right now the best battle out there on the racetrack. Roby unable to thread the needle on the bottom. Now he's going to try to take it upstairs. The 8's going to cover as well. See the defense right now in that 8 machine. Oftentimes he's on the offense, but right now he is trying to throw everything at the kitchen sink, trying to keep Roby behind him. You just got to be careful throwing the block like that. I mean, these Gen 4 cars, you generate a ton of momentum, a lot of speed. Sometimes you hesitate, too little, too late, you can end up in the wall, picking your teeth out of the cockpit of the race car. So you got to be careful when you choose to block like that. Not that it was insanely aggressive, but something you have to keep in the back of your mind here is now Roby going to get on by. Seen some flames pop out of the 8's exhaust pipes there. That tells me he lifted a little bit. Decided don't want to make any mistakes here. Don't want to just have a fluke freak of nature happen and wind up something bad happening in my race car here. So he lets him go here, at least for the time being. So we have rocketed all the way here to lap 80. Kyle Gray leads with a 1.5-second advantage over that Richard Petty-inspired Pontiac, being piloted by Gary Farnsworth Jr. and Austin Collins. He is one of the long-run boys, so good on getting the longevity, the performance out of those Goodyear Eagles. So many times I've seen him do this. And I believe, the 2022 campaign, this 48 machine, he will just wear you out. '42 went upstairs to throw the block, and he had so much thunder dialed up in that machine. He able just to turn it downstairs and drive right past the 42. 48 should clear here off the corner, and does. Austin Collins now up 10 positions to the good in that runner-up bridesmaid position. Now he sets his sights on Kyle Gray. The only thing between him and the leader, 2.25 seconds of asphalt. Gray's best lap time at 30.73 to Austin Collins' 70.30. In fact, that is the second fastest lap of the race. Last time by at the line. 2 laps difference on their set of shoes right now. If you remember, folks, Gray, your leader, pitted on lap 69. Austin Collins on lap 67. You would think, hey, it's only 2 laps. I'm telling you, it makes a huge difference, especially in cars that make a lot of horsepower and torque, like this race car that was iconic, the catalyst for making the golden era of NASCAR what it was. Even though Austin Collins has taken over that second place position, Kyle Gray continues to be the fastest car out there on the racetrack. And in fact, you go back to the 5th place driver, Brandon Groby, 7.54 seconds between 1st and 5th. That's the type of a performance these drivers here at the point are putting up here this evening. As we now work lap 85, going on to 86 of the scheduled 134 laps here in the corn Kickin at Kansas Speedway. We're going to go to our second Crank It Up all-out coverage segment here, right here on Redline Racing Net. Feel free to turn it on up at home. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back from our all-out flyover segment here, sponsored by Black Magic, the official custom scheme and pace designer, part of the Strategic Family Alliance right here on Redline Racing Network. 91 laps about to be officially written in the books tonight of the 134. We have one more commercial break we have to get through to take care of our partners. We're going to get that out of the way and then be back with coverage all the way to the checkered flag. Stick around. Don't go anywhere. You're locked in to Redline Racing Network. Race fans, welcome back to Redline Racing Network as we're currently in the midst of a high-octane thriller being put on by the 78 of Kyle Gray, who has really turned it up here after the halfway point of this race. I mentioned Austin Collins before we left for our final paid commercial break on the evening. And since then, Kyle Gray has just unopened a can of whoop butt, is made famous by the water boy, as he is now 3.45 seconds ahead of AC. I mean, you might as well be in the next county, the next zip code over. I mean, that is an eternity, especially when you're out there with speeds over 190 miles on the racetrack at times. And want to wish all of you a happy holiday. Tis the season. Always make sure you take time to tell your friends, family, colleagues, and more. Wish them well. Sometimes you don't know what everyone is going through around you, but just that statement alone, just to let them know that, hey, you're thinking about them, that you care. Wishing them the best this time of year, that can make all the difference. And I'll tell you what, taking over a year and a quarter off for Austin Collins hasn't affected him in the slightest, as he is virtually picked up right where he left off. He finds himself in that bridesmaid position, trying to chase down this man, who is now that is correct, folks, working his way through lap traffic. And I mean, these are some stellar drivers, very good performers in this series as he gets around David Keisha there in that Killer Bees DeWalt machine. I mean, that is 10th place going a lap down. Next on the hit list for your leader, Kyle Gray, is going to be James Pandolf in the 74, head cook, chief, and bottle washer of the league. We're now one lap shy of 100. Coming down pit road here again. This should be for the final time. So this proverbial money stop here. Let's follow him into the box. I thought he may have slid a little too far forward, but Jackman over the wall. Those Dr. Feelbad's coming off. Dr. Feelgood's coming on. Gonna make sure he stuffs that juice box full with 2 cans of Sonoma Racing Fuel. He is down and away. Robbed it. Oh, he locks the tires up. Don't want any penalties here. He's been flawless in executing all night long. But how many times, even in real life, have we seen that money stop just when the pressure is maxed out on the driver of the team? Very rare mistake can happen, which would be very costly right now. He parks it beautifully there in his pit stall. Pit crew going to work for the final time here as well. Robnet now on pit road as more drivers going to be coming in. Come one, come all. There's James Pandolf making his final pit stop. Biggest question is, when does Kyle Gray, Austin Collins, decide to come down pit road? Austin Collins has to find a way to chew into this lead Kyle Gray has put up here. I mean, he has engaged the afterburner the later portion of this run and just walked away from AC. So, well, what can you do if you're Austin Collins? You can try to take advantage of those fresh tires. Get down pit road just like he is right now. No mistakes here, beautifully. Hits the commitment cone down to a crawling snail's pace. So 48 now has his pit box in sight. He's looking for a home run here. He's in, locks it down. Jack and crew over the wall. Going to work. For Dr. Feelgood's going to be the call here. 2 cans of Sunoco Racing Fuel. You might not need both cans to make it here to the end. That'll help you save some time. And Austin Collins down and away. Let's see if this brings in Kyle Gray. And it does. Austin Collins really not going to be able to utilize those new tires for as long as he had hoped. It's Kyle Gray, your leader, now in. Is this the final stop, potentially, of the race? There has been 0 cautions for incident, all lean, mean, and green since the top of the broadcast. Kyle Gray now kicks the clutch, grabs the gear. He is down and away. Got to be careful there. You don't want to carry so much speed there on the flatlands that you accidentally come up into traffic. Is that being made famous by Kevin LePage at Talladega a handful of years ago? You don't know what I'm talking about. Just type in Kevin LePage Talladega. Saying I opted to use that restrictor plate race and don't Kevin LePage the field. If you haven't seen it, I won't spoil it for you, but it's certainly worth 30 seconds of your time. There's Dave Acacia coming off pit road as well. Curious just how fast these Jet 4 cars are going around this racetrack here in Kansas. Let's throw up the telemetry. That's going to appear in the bottom right-hand corner of your screen. Let's do that while we jump on over with the rocket. That's 78 machine. Takes it down there right. That white line as he transitions back. With throttle. About 191 miles an hour entering the corner here. Get a little bit of traction. See if we can crack 193. Wires off. Oh, diesel. 195, almost 200 miles an hour. That is letting her rip tater chip as he now closes in on the back of James Pandolf, not for position. However, he is trying to stay on the lead lap, but it looks like Bad Luck Racing is not going to be able to do so as he now slips 1 lap down to Kyle Gray. Austin Collins got it done on pit road. He was able to shave off more than 4 seconds with that lightning quick pit stop. 1 second now remains with 1 lap difference on the shoes. How can Austin Collins drive this car different? What can he do inside of the cockpit, dude? Just try to match the pace that Kyle Gray has put up here, especially over the long run. AC has had the short run speed. In fact, he has a faster best lap time, a 30.68 to Kyle Gray's 37. The real difference maker here has been the way that Kyle Gray has been able to just keep up that blistering pace. Something that Austin Collins is very good at doing as well, because Kyle Gray did a little bit better of a job this last run. However, now 25 laps to go. This is where a driver, you can apply what you've learned over the course of this race as the track takes rubber. Certainly going to wait and change the handling characteristics of this race car. AC can see the leader, and he has him in his sights. In fact, that is stabilized. It is hovering there right at 1.01 seconds. Last time by, they ran identical lap times. I want to make sure I give credit where credit this dude, Gary Farnsworth Jr. here. Driving the wheels off this 42 machine. Another great run in the making here in the works from Farnsworth Jr. Let's go ahead and gets around the 97 there. That's Samuel Carter. Finds himself just outside the top 10 in that 12th place position. 23 laps to go. Your pole sitter, Ken Robden. Unfortunately, this race slipping out of his hands as far as contending for the win. So strong here in the early going. Now finds himself that 14th place position here. Austin Collins, he's got it down to under a second. You know, it's not as easy of just, you know, you're the crew chief or, you know, a spotter. Just tell your driver, hey, do exactly what you did the last run. Well, even if that driver tries to replicate that, sometimes it's just not as easy as doing that. There's so many things that are constantly changing, a lot of variables that are, you know, in real time. Also, Austin Collins. This guy is a smart, seasoned veteran. He can figure out ways to improve. Out there on the racetrack, the more laps you turn, the more practice you get. And AC has figured something out here. And he is not letting Kyle Gray get out of Dodge like he did that last run. Again, that margin, 1 second between the first and second place cars. Taylor Butcher Benjamin just outside the top 3 at 4th place position. I mean, the top 4 cars, it's a far stretch, but at least they have somewhat, they're somewhat in the realm of the leader. Go to the 5th place car, Brandon Roby. I mean, he is 18.45 seconds off the lead. And you would need a miracle. I mean, really, you need a caution, really. That would change everything. Take everything we're talking about right now, crumple it up and throw it out the window. That would be a big-time game changer that would really revitalize some of these drivers. But right now, that's the only way some of these drivers, like Brandon Roby. How about Matty Sizzler? This guy pit started this race and is now just outside the top 5 in 6th. Probably thinking to himself, man, what if I was able just to get the session just a little bit quicker? I know he had some issues with the setup and some other things that prevented him from gritting with everyone else, but what a recovery drive here for the 93 of Matt Sizzler. I don't call him Sizzle Time for nothing. And believe it or not, Matt Sizzler has the 2nd fastest lap of the race. So he has pace in this 93. I mean, able to go from 16th to 6th under green flag conditions, not one caution per incident. And that is a heck of a drive behind the steering wheel in the office for Matty Sizzler. And I know him well enough to know, as good as this 6th place run is, he'll be kicking himself in the patoot for not making the initial start of this race, because he knows he may have been up there contending for a podium or perhaps a win. Unfortunately, the wheels are starting to fall off. The good has gotten out of those good years, and Kyle Gray has now suddenly started to stretch it out once again as that gap approaches 2 seconds, now 2.5. Sometimes when it is just your night, you are on it, and you are not going to be denied. Kyle Gray here putting on a clinic with 14 laps remaining, now 13. Again, got to thank everyone for joining us here tonight in the YouTube.com live chat. Appreciate the Faster Pastor and his fans showing up here religiously each and every Saturday night. Barbara, I appreciate you. The rest of you that have been here throughout the course of this race tonight, from all of us here at Redline Racing Network, we appreciate you. This DRL Winter Series never disappoints, and don't forget, folks, right around the corner, their 2025 campaign is going to be kicking off sooner than later. And if you think you got what it takes to go out there on the racetrack and compete against some of iRacing.com's best Gen 4 drivers, reach out to James Pandolf. We'll throw a link to the Discord here in the chat. We can make sure you're a part of the action when it's go time. In just a couple short months from now, actually less than a couple months, about a month from now, you still got time. It's an unbelievable drive here. Kyle Gray. Another big storyline here is the return of Austin Collins. Driver who was a regular in this series the last full season and then just disappeared, vanished from the hands of time. Then just out of nowhere appears tonight. Great to have him back. And this guy just hasn't missed a beat. Not sure how much racing he's been doing out there on the servers. However, looks like he hasn't missed a race since he is picking right back up where he left off. Just a fierce competitor. Once again, biggest mover of the race, something I consider him famous for. One of his calling cards. All the way up to second. Taylor Butcher Benjamin. If you could bet on these drivers here on DraftKings, any sportsbook, a driver that would always have to be on your team. It's just fallen off a little bit over the past couple of weeks. He had a couple of runs where he was hanging on to fifth or just outside the top five, but TBB looks back good form tonight. As he currently holds on to that third and final podium position in that 88. Well, there's a driver there who's been a part of many iconic battles, memorable moments here in DRL. Former broadcast partner of mine, Liam Irving, he knows all about it. Him and I got to call some of those great races together. There was times when we thought this race was over. Late race caution would come out. Taylor Butcher Benjamin pulled off some miracles, and sometimes that black voodoo cloud unleashed raining terror. Late races, and he had wins literally stolen from him. It's gone both ways, but talk about drivers that make a league what they are, and this is certainly one of them right here in Taylor Butcher Benjamin. His gentleman's handshake lap now on the board. 5 laps remaining for Kyle Gray. That 78 looks to have a Nissan Skyline and 1,000 horsepower and all-wheel drive underneath of it. That car has been glued to the racetrack. I don't think I've seen him bobble once all race long. Last thing he wants to see right now is a caution. Let's check in again with Stoney Benfield tonight. Another great run for Stoney. That 75 ride as he holds on to a top 10 here. As he's been cruising in the Fusion all evening long. Another driver we hope sticks around here in PRL, and we see him in the 2025 season. I think Stoney will be in victory sooner than later. Faster, faster. Boy, that would be special, especially for the amount of viewers this guy brings to the channel. That'll be a day to remember when he does punch his ticket into victory lane. However, 2 laps to go. Popsicle sticks in the air for Kyle Gray. As he screams that 358 cubic inch V8 into the 3 and 4 complex. As he comes off of 4, he can see the white flag in the air, and we are racing back to checkers here on Redline Racing Network. He's going to let it sink, let it eat on the bottom through turns 1 and 2. Don't need to make any mistakes here. Overdrive the car. You have almost a 3-second advantage down the American Ethanol backstretch for the final time. He's going to salute the fans in the RV park as he rips it in on the bottom into 3. And coming off of turn number 4, kicking the cord and the competition here in prime time, Kyle Gray circles the wagons here in Kansas with a dominating performance. He is your winner here this evening. And how about Austin Collins? Over a year off, haven't seen him in this series. He reappears tonight and graces us with a 2nd place finish, biggest mover of the race. And returning to form, Taylor Butcher Benjamin comes home in that 3rd place position. Brandon Broby and Matt Sizzler comes home with a top 5 after pit starting this race. Not starting last, well, he started last, but not rolling off the grid with everyone else, taking the green flag with everyone. No, he waited, almost went a lap down, and rallies back to a 5th place position. What a drive for the 93 as Kyle Gray burns the house down. Working moment right here on Redline Racing Network. Blow it up, man. You don't need it anymore. Get all the good out of it. Tell you what, I've seen a lot of great performances. This one here is going to be a memorable one for me. Especially going up against such stellar competition, great competition. Kyle Gray just had an answer for everything that was thrown at him on the racetrack tonight. Almost a 4 or 3.5 second margin of victory. I mean, that's something to hang your head high on. Get ready now to interview our top 3 drivers. Give them a moment to celebrate with their teams. Joining me now in the Tony Trapasso Memorial broadcast booth, a driver that just put on a clinic here at Kansas. Kyle, man, up top, you got a copy?
Yes, I do.
Kyle, man, I'll tell you what, man, I've got to watch a lot of great races in this series over the time here. I've had the pleasure of being up here at the broadcast booth. I can't remember a time that I watched a driver just able to execute and just carry the speed in the long run game as well, like you did tonight. How are you able to go out there and just dominate the competition here in that 78 machine?
Yeah, I did a lot of official races this week and a lot of practice, and the track was a little bit cooler than official. So I just kind of raced hard, took care of my tires. Ken got ahead of me a little bit, and I was just kind of taking it easy. And then I started picking up the pace, and that kind of changed to me a little bit. But after that, I felt like I could get it done after that.
Yeah, I mean, you really got it done. And I mean, I was sitting here for multiple laps trying to figure out how you were driving that race car just to get, the performance out of it, even through an entire tire run. I mean, if you look at the short run speed, I mean, Austin Collins, a driver who hasn't been on the racetrack for quite some time, makes an appearance here tonight. He was with you there as far as short run speed, but it just seemed like after 20 or 25 laps, I mean, that 78 did not fall off anymore. How were you attacking this racetrack? What did you figure out that allowed those good years just to, keep the bite throughout the course of the run like that?
And basically just not being so hard on the throttle and keeping the car straight, and basically just running your line, and biggest deal is taking care of your tires and maintaining your speed, and just everything's got to come to you and maintain your pace. And I was watching Collins behind me, and once I figured out he was catching me on the short run, I kind of stuffed it up a little bit, and then I noticed I stretched out, so after that, I pretty much had it after that.
Hey, well said. I appreciate the analysis and breakdown. And Kyle, before I cut you loose, man, who do you want to thank who helps you get it done on the 78?
And my wife lets me able to do this every Saturday night, and appreciate the broadcast and competition in this series. Everybody races good. Kudos to James on this series, and hopefully we'll get it done next week.
Absolutely. There he is, ladies and gentlemen. Kyle Gray gets an early Christmas gift with one of the most dominating performances I have ever seen here in the Dynasty Racing League. Is any time a driver posed a threat, he had an answer and able to capture the checkered flag with north of a 3-second advantage over the second place driver. Congratulations once again. We hope to be talking to you again soon, bud.
Thank you.
Always a pleasure to speak to Kyle Gray each and every time he is out there on the racetrack. Now here's a driver I've been waiting to talk to for quite some time. He makes his return to the Dynasty Racing League. Now officially joining me up in the Tony Trapasso Memorial broadcast booth, Austin Collins. Welcome back to DRL, and picking right up where you left off, inside the top three with a solid second place finish. Walk me through your run tonight, bud.
Yeah, it was a fun race. Joined pretty late there. Happened to have some free time tonight. Joined with like a minute left. Didn't get no practice to qualify. I think I got one lap of qualifying in, and that's all I had come into it. Started in the back and kind of took my time. Avoided mistakes on pit road, and it was a long race there. I know. Wish I would have saved fuel a little bit earlier, so that would have been okay. But I had that second to last run, I was starting to clutch it and let him get out to like a 5-second lead before pit stops, and then there at the end, just trying to run him down with the 1 lap older tires, and just having to push more than what he was having to. It was bound to not work out, and I caught the wall a few times trying to rip that top line up there. But good win to him, and it was a fun race.
Hey, you hit the nail on the head. That was a fun race, and what a performance, what a drive from you tonight. I mean, you started back in the woods, the next county over, biggest mover of the race. Actually tied, I take that back, with Matt Sizzler. But, I mean, such good competition out here. You had to execute, be flawless, no cautions for incident. How were you able to capitalize on pit road? You were really able to make up a lot of time there over the course of this race tonight.
I'm gonna guess it just comes down to just I've been doing the racing for 5 years now, so just knowing how pit stops go. I didn't realize I didn't have no practice, just the knowledge of what I've done in the past. So I took that into account. Like I said, these Gen 4 cars, they're not my favorite cars. I'm not very great in them compared to some other cars on the service here. But like I said, I just wanted to hop in tonight, try out my new computer I have and all that, and worked out pretty good. Like I said, a top 2 finish is nothing to be too ashamed of.
Hang your head high, man. It's great to see you out here in competition. We hope you stick around. In no practice, no problem for the great Austin Collins as he makes his return to DRL and comes home with the second place finish. Thanks for joining me up here in the Tony Trapassa Memorial Broadcast booth, bud.
Thank you for having me, buddy.
Anytime, man. Wish you a happy holiday and great new year. And like I said again, folks, hopefully we see more of Austin Collins in this series. Always a pleasure to have him out there on the racetrack, and he always keeps it 100 each and every time he straps in that race car. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that is 2 down, 1 more to go. As we now, joining us now in the broadcast booth, TBB. Matt up top, you got a copy there, bud.
I got you. How are you?
Man, I am great. First of all, happy holidays to you. It's the other part of that. Welcome back to the broadcast booth, man. I missed not talking to you the past couple weeks, but hey, you returned to form tonight with a solid 3rd place finish. Walk me through your race this evening.
Well, happy holidays to you as well. And I knew going into this it was going to be probably green flag all the way unless some really big time problems ensued. And so I was practicing because I knew the next gen official race was at Kansas this week, so I wanted to get some practice in there, doing ghost driving. And so the session I logged into it just happened to Kyle Gray and Ken Robnett just happened to be in there, and I was kind of studying what they were doing. Yeah, just kind of fortunate there, but I knew they were going to be good there, and they finished 1 and 2 in that race. I knew they were going to be good tonight, but I guess Ken had his pit road issues, and that's one thing I've always thought about this track. It has the whole pit road entry and exit, and the pit road itself is kind of sneaky. It's not as easy as one might think, and some guys had some issues tonight. I think the 8 had a little bit of a struggle, and I think the 45 as well. But luckily, he was able to just steer clear and keep it clean and bring him a top 3.
Hey, well said, and I agree with you. This pit road here is definitely underrated, and it can certainly bite even the best race car drivers if they are not mentally prepared and ready for it, especially under green flag conditions. Before I cut you loose, Taylor, who do you want to thank who helps you get it done on that 88?
Well, first of all, my one of my best friends from my college celebrated his birthday today, so definitely want to say happy birthday to him. Of course, you for doing the broadcast, and everybody in the league for putting on a good show, a clean show, and with some really good racing mixed in there. And of course, everybody watching at home, and hope everybody has a great Christmas.
Well, there he is, ladies and gentlemen, executes beautifully in all 3 phases of the race, did not let pit road get the best of him, and he comes home with a solid 3rd place finish. That is the one and only Taylor Butcher Benjamin. Thank you for joining me up here in the broadcast booth, bud.
Yeah, thanks, Matt. I'll talk to you next time.
Absolutely. Always a pleasure to speak to Taylor Butcher Benjamin, especially after he goes out and puts on a heck of a drive out there in DRL competition. As we wrap up post-race interviews, it has now come to that point in time in the broadcast where all good things must come to an end, including our coverage here tonight. Want to thank everyone for joining us right here on Redline Racing Network, sounding off at the youtube.com live chat, all the partners, sponsors, and drivers that make this great league possible. And as the late, great Tony Trapasso used to say, as you walk down the road of life this week, do us all a favor, don't play in traffic, and we'll see you next time.